Hey guys, this is AwesomeJohn22, and today we are taking a look at some more Power Rangers stuff, because it hasn't been a while since I've done Power Rangers stuff on my channel, and there is some more Power Rangers coming up as well. Today we are taking a look at some figures from the new upcoming series, Power Rangers Dino Charge, the Dino Charge Megazord, and its two accessory Zords, the Parazord and the Raptor Zord. And I'm lumping them all together because they're not all that complex, and I think I can knock them all out of the park right now and get it over with. So first, take these two out of the way, and let's look at the base figure, the Dino Charge Megazord, another Megazord which is made up of just 3 components, as you can see here. We have dinosaurs again, which seem to be a popular recurring theme in Power Rangers / Super Sentai, and I will point out, first of all, I did watch quite a bit of this Super Sentai series, Kyoryuger, and I did really enjoy it despite the really kind of childish presentation. It was very much for young children, but I had a lot of fun with it, especially with this guy, the Gabutira. I loved him. He was very cool. He was one of those Zords that's his own character, and I really hope some of that carries over to the American version. So let's take a look at him first. And right off the bat, if you know anything about the American version of this toy, you'll see that there is some silver here that is not on the actual retail release. The silver here on his leg, up here on his tail, back here on the lower part of his tail, and on the entire back side of the figure was not present. I painted that all on myself, and it kind of needs a touch-up because it's starting to chip and fade and whatnot because it's not the best paint. It was not there, and it was really disappointed me. And not that he wasn't poorly painted. All of this was here, and all the silver on his head was here. So, I mean, it's not like he looked bad. He just didn't look the way I expected him to. And so that really bothered me, so I went ahead and fixed that. I added some paint apps to some of the other figures as well. We'll look at that as we get to them, but I really want to focus on this guy. Is he not the most adorable Power Rangers Zord you've ever seen? And just look at that eye. He is so cute. And you can go om nom 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 with his head. I just love this guy. He's fantastic. Great figure. Even just the American release is a really good figure. You can see in here he has what I think they're calling Dino batteries or Dino chargers or something. Is his little transformation weapon. You can see as you click this button, it goes through different stages. And what it does is you plug it in here, and on the Japanese version you would get like action noises and stuff, but here all you do is when you close his mouth all the way, let me bring the camera up so you can see this, it brings his crest up, which is fine. It's still an action feature, and I'm not a huge fan of electronic gimmicks anyway. You all should know that by now. So I'm not really heartbroken that there aren't electronics in this guy. It just, I don't know, to include the chargers, I'm pretty sure that's what they're calling them, the chargers, and not give us any lights and sounds, just, I don't know, it feels like they didn't quite take it far enough, if you understand what I'm saying. But still, really like him, even without the paint apps I added, he still looked really good. A really nice, big, beefy figure, and he does have access to the Zord Builder process, I guess you would say. But in order to access it, you have to rip off huge chunks of his body, if I can even get it. Yeah, see, there's the Zord Builder port, and so no, let's just not do that. He does, of course, have them on his legs as well, but let's just not do that. You can see he's quite big, a very, very large figure. Pretty well articulated, too. He can kind of bob his head side to side. His legs do move, if ever so slightly. Well, I guess they move further back than I thought. They don't move forward at all, but they can move backwards. So you can kind of have him like running, you know. Very, very nice. I really like it. I really love this guy. I'm trying really hard not to sound gushy like I usually do in reviews of figures that I really enjoy, but I really enjoy him. Let's zoom in on his eye, because I really love the paint app on his eye. Very nice, and very nice detail all along him. Overall, I think just in terms of molding and detail, this is really a win for the American branch of the company. It's just really nice. Really nice all around. And as you can plainly see, the aesthetics of this guy are quite a bit different than anything we've gotten in most previous Power Rangers / Sentai series. He had hair on him. And the aesthetic does carry over into the other Zords as well. We have a Stegosaurus Zord and a Triceratops Zord. I'm not really sure what these guys are going to be called. I mean, I can kind of guess because we've gotten similar Zords before, so I mean, I'm probably going to end up calling them things that may or may not be actually what they're called in the show. But you can see the aesthetic definitely carries over. And I did do some paint on these as well. The silver on the plate here on the Triceratops' head and the silver here on the Stegosaurus' back were not there. And while it wasn't very obtrusive, it still bothered me enough that I felt like I should change that. Both of these guys are missing action features that they had in their Japanese release. I'm totally blocking Stegosaurus' head. You can see, let's real quick, very similar eyes to the Tyrannosaurus, which I think is very cool, very consistent. Let's look at the Stegosaurus first. On the Japanese version, his back would split open into a shield. It does not do that on this version, but it does have its other action feature. And if you buy the extra component that has the spare charger in it, you could do this with just the charger by opening his mouth. So I will use the Raptor's charger to show this off. Up pops a blade, and you can kind of bring it forward more. And it's one of the... And then there's a switch on the bottom that pops the charger back out, so you can close his mouth. But it's one of the better, like, blade from back action features we see, because you can see him charging along and like stabbing people with this. It's pretty nifty, and you can see little molded lines on the blade where there would normally be different color swatches, because this is his Megazord blade, but they are not present on this, which bums me out a bit. I'm hoping Repro Labels will take care of that for me at some point, but I really doubt it. I'll probably end up having to go in there and paint it myself if I really find it that annoying. It just folds back in, like so. The Triceratops, I think, is the one that really got the short end of the stick here, because normally you can see there are molded in drills back here, and this kind of molded in arm. Normally this whole section would fold forward and make the horns on her head, and that's her missing action feature. It's not there, it's just gone completely from the American release, and I don't know, it doesn't look too bad, so I'm not really that worried about it, but the Japanese version has this black across the back that kind of breaks up the pink, and I kind of like that. So he does, however, still have an action feature. Again, we'll use the Raptor's charger to show it off, but again, you can also use this switch. It's still possible. We take the charger, plug it in, and her tail / drill extends, and it's not really that fantastic, but it's something, and I appreciate it. I appreciate that they didn't just stiff her of action features completely. But those are the 3 component Zords, the main 3 Zords, and geez, they're really big. They're big. These are big figures. It's a big, beefy line of toys, and I really appreciate that. Let's go ahead and get them transformed up into the regular Megazord. I'm still kind of, as I make this, deciding how I want to show all these off, since I am still doing the 2 component Zords as well today. Let's get it transformed up. It's not a difficult combination. As you may expect, the transformation of the Tyrannosaurus is the most difficult. Kind of bring his arms down to kind of make some space there, and then we're going to come around here to the back, just take this out like so. Then we are going to spread this section, which drops his helmet out of a little compartment inside here. He basically poops his helmet. I just think that's endlessly hilarious. But yeah, you can see it. We'll get a better look at it in a minute. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take his Tyrannosaurus legs and bring them back. And there are little posts there and little holes in the feet. And the posts just kind of sit inside the hole like so, and it holds everything together. We'll of course do the same thing on this side. and it's a bit difficult. There we go. You can see how this is kind of shaping up already. Bring these down, and then rotate the torso like so, and then just kind of bring his Tyrannosaurus legs down to make kind of this belt buckly looking thing. Moving up, we're going to rotate this section like so to reveal his face. Just plug the helmet on top, and then take his tail, which is much larger on the Japanese version, and for once I don't mind scaling something down. It was ridiculously large and unnecessarily large on the Japanese version. Put it in these lower slots. I keep thinking it goes in the top, but it goes in the lower slots and just slots onto his back. Now he's got kind of this crest sitting up above his shoulders, and I think that looks pretty cool. Next we're going to take the Triceratops, fold her front legs up, and then her back legs up so that on both sides these stripes come together to make this single uniform yellow stripe. Next we're going to open up her mouth like we would to insert a charger, and just plug it over top. For Blue, we're going to remove his entire back section before doing the same thing as on Pink and folding up his legs. These two are effectively the same mold. Open up his mouth, plug him in like so, and he has this little fist here. They both have little fists, but he has a little fist here. What we're going to do is we're going to take the blade, fold it up, and then plug it into the fist. Now he has his big sword, which would be able to fold out and be a shield as well, but we don't have the Japanese figure, we have the American one, so it has a few missing features, but still, overall, I really like it. I like this figure a lot. It's very dynamic, with a very different, very new, very unique aesthetic, something we haven't seen in Power Rangers very often. If ever. I'm trying to think of another Megazord that evoked this kind of presence, and I can't really think of one. And I really like it. He looks like he could get some work done. He looks dangerous, and it's really cool. There are some things here that I can see fans not liking, however. The RPM Zords had these big, obvious faces, kind of like this guy does, and I know a lot of fans didn't really like the aesthetic of them. I did, however, though, so that's probably actually adding to why I enjoy this figure so much. I don't mind that the individual appearances of the individual Zords still kind of show through in this. It's a giant robot made up of 3 dinosaurs. That's already absurd enough that you can go a bit further with it, and I'm not really going to mind. I like it a lot. The same details, of course, carry over in this mode from the Tyrannosaurus, and they kind of just merge in seamlessly with the details on the arms. You can see very nice head sculpt with a very nice face sculpt underneath. Once I get my camera position, let's actually remove the helmet for a moment, and you can get a look at the face itself. It's very cool, very well painted. It didn't have to be, but it's very well painted, and I appreciate that that was done. Plug that back on. Same basic articulation as every other Power Rangers Megazord ever. He can move his arms, and he can kind of move his legs again like his counterpart. They only move backwards, or his Tyrannosaurus form, I guess I should say, not really his counterpart. But yeah, it's pretty standard. It's basically just there to look impressive, and that's what it does. And so therefore I kind of give it full points for doing what it's supposed to do. But we do still have 2 component Zords to look at, so this guy can still do more. And I'm going to take a minute and look at each of these guys individually. This is the Raptor Zord. You can see it looks raptorish. It's got the big claws and the arms, and it looks like it could run fast. I believe I painted this myself. Yeah, this section here was not painted out of the box, but everything else was already there. So already pretty nice. Zooming in, we can see Again, some of those same sorts of details. And again, similar eyes. Very, very nice figure. Just big and beefy and tough looking, and I really enjoy it. And green being my favorite color. This is a very nice green, by the way. Needs to be on more things. Transformation of this guy is simplified a bit from his Japanese counterpart. And so I've kind of come up with my own transformation, so let's take a look at that now. Well, first let's look at his battery, or his charger. We've already seen it used for a couple other figures. You can see it has that same kind of transformation thing going on. And you open his mouth. Here, it's a little tough. You open it down instead of up like on the other guys, and it plugs in like so. And when it does, it splits open his tail and makes a claw, which is pretty cool, and it doesn't really have much function in the Dino mode, but you can't even see him because I got my camera trained too high up. But I mean, it's a thing that it does, and again, he has a switch underneath that allows you to slide the charger out. And if I'm not mistaken, the switch, the switch will also extend the claws. So if you lose the charger, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, so there's that, and that's pretty much all he does. So my fan transformation. First, we're gonna fold the claws up like so to give us clearance to rotate them around like so. Do that on both sides, because this is just a weird transformation. Then we're gonna bring this up and just kind of wrap his front claws around his feetsy claws like so, and then open his mouth, of course, because he has to hold himself onto the Megazord with his teeth, just like the other Zords do. And that's his transformation. You can see he has the fist underneath there. And that's it. And that in the Japanese version, the legs would like fold up and then they would come together, kind of like the legs on Blue and Pink did, to make that solid stripe. And on here they don't really, so I kind of did my best and came up with a way to make that happen without it actually happening. And I think I did an okay job. It looks better than the mess that they show on the packaging. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. And we are going to go ahead and just plug the charger into his mouth again, because I want to show off that you can have the chargers in their mouths when you are combining him, as we would know if the Pink and Blue would come with chargers as well. But first, let's take a look at Megazord here. And again, same silver details I had myself. And just like with Blue and Pink, he is pretty much the same mold as Green. His mouth opens the same way. And you, of course, insert the charger. And you can see his charger as well. When we insert his charger, his tail opens up to become a gun. Just like with Green, with the Raptor Zord, the transformation is kind of dumb. So I came up with my own transformation, and it follows the same scheme as the Raptor. As you can see, just kind of get everything folded up as well as you can. And now we have two new arms for the Megazord, and the claw loves to go shut. But you can see two new arms for the Megazord. So let's go ahead and pop off Blue and Pink, like so. And plug in Green and Black, which kind of necessitates working around his feet that are sticking out randomly. But there we have the combination form, the first combination form of the series. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be perfectly honest. It doesn't look bad, but I mean, his arms, they practically scrape the ground. And I mean, yeah, he has fists on the Black and Green Zords, but let's actually try this. You can kind of get the sword to sit in there, but it doesn't really work, so he loses the use of his main weapon. And he has the gun, which looks cool, certainly. And he has the claws, which look cool, certainly. But all in all, it just feels kind of like a big cluster. And while I don't dislike it, I don't particularly love it either. This combination in the Japanese version is called Kyoryu Western, and I have no idea what it's going to be called in the English version, but probably not that. Almost definitely not that, in fact. And while it's nice that we got these other guys immediately after the run of the toy line started, and they did come with their own chargers, and they do look quite good, I'm still not a huge fan of the form, but then to be fair, I wasn't a huge fan of it in the Japanese toy line or the Japanese series either, so that might help explain it. Still, fun toys. They certainly look cool. They certainly look good with the other Zords, and I certainly recommend picking them up if you're interested in the toy line. If you like dinosaurs, if you like Power Rangers that are dinosaurs, if you're one of those people who goes back and revisits series like these that are kind of homages to past ones, it might be a toy line for you, but in the end, it's an American Power Rangers toy line versus a Japanese Super Sentai one, and it's one that I feel stepped it up even further from Super Megaforce, that was already a step above Megaforce, that was already a step above what we had been getting previously. And just like with Super Megaforce compared to previous toy lines, I feel like this one shows that the Power Rangers toy line is taking steps in the right direction. And if you are a fan of the series, of the toy line, if you're nostalgic for it or whatever, and you want to support it, this is certainly a toy line to invest in, because it's very nice, it's very well made, and like I said, even though I added paint apps to it, it doesn't need them because it still looks good without them, and I was certainly very impressed with these guys right out of the box. Speaking of boxes, for I believe the first time in an awesome review, I want to show off the boxes for some figures. Actually, I think I did something similar to this with my original Assemblers review. But you can see these are the boxes for the Megazord and the Raptorzord, and they have these really cool dioramas. In the background, you can see a mountainous terrain there and a desert terrain there. And let's use Megazord for an example. Opening this up, you can slide this out, and while it has this plastic bubble on it, it's not super obtrusive, and now you've got kind of this cool backdrop to set your battles against. And I think that's a really nice addition that didn't have to be there. And I don't know if it was intended as a play option, but I think it certainly works as one, so I felt it was worth pointing out. But yeah, all in all, not a perfect set of toys, but I think it's certainly a good set of toys, and I certainly enjoy it, and I think there are probably quite a few of you out there who would as well. So I would really give this guy some consideration. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, because I certainly enjoyed making it. Please help me out, like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined. In the description down below, you'll find a link to all the other things I'm working on, as well as a link to my collections video. Check it out. If you see anything in that video that you would like me to review, let me know and I will see what I can do. This has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later.